Welcome to my official YouTube channel, Fazza Poetry Life, where words become emotions and poetry touches the soul. Join us for beautiful verses. The truth I hid from the woman I loved, I will tell this truth. For too long, these words have lived in silence. For too long, they have remained prisoners behind a smile that pretended everything was fine. For too long, my heart has carried the story that my lips were never brave enough to speak. Tonight, beneath a sky filled with stars, I am tired of hiding. Tonight, I choose honesty. Tonight, I choose truth. The truth is that I loved you long before I understood what love truly meant. At first, I thought you were simply another person passing through the seasons of my life, another face among countless faces, another voice among countless voices. But slowly, without warning, you became something more. You became the thought that arrived first every morning. You became the memory that stayed last every night. You became the reason ordinary moments suddenly felt extraordinary. The truth is that I never told you how often I searched for your happiness, not because I expected anything in return, not because I wanted recognition, but because seeing you smile felt like watching the sunrise after a long night. Your happiness became important to me in ways I never fully understood, and that frightened me because the truth is that love can be terrifying, not when it begins, but when it becomes real, when suddenly another person's joy affects your own, when their sadness hurts you, when their absence creates silence where music once existed. That is when love stops being a dream and becomes part of your soul. The truth is that I hid my feelings because I feared losing you. I feared that honesty might create distance. I feared that speaking my heart might change everything. I feared that the risk of losing you completely was greater than the pain of loving you silently. So I chose silence, and silence became my companion day after day, month after month, year after year. I carried emotions that grew heavier with every passing season. The truth is that there were nights when I imagined telling you everything, every hope, every fear, every prayer, every dream. I imagined finally speaking the words that had lived inside my heart for so long. I imagined your reaction. I imagined your smile. I imagined a future where honesty no longer frightened me, but imagination and reality rarely walk the same road. So the words remained unspoken. The truth is that I was not afraid of rejection alone. I was afraid of change because sometimes the heart becomes attached to possibilities. Sometimes dreams feel safer than answers. Sometimes hope feels safer than certainty. And I remained trapped between what I felt and what I feared. The truth is that loving you changed me. You taught me patience. You taught me kindness. You taught me that strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength appears as loyalty. Sometimes strength appears as forgiveness. Sometimes strength appears as quietly carrying emotions nobody else can see. The truth is that you became part of my prayers, not occasionally, not sometimes, often, more often than I ever admitted. I prayed for your happiness. I prayed for your peace. I prayed for your success, even during moments when my own heart felt lost. Because real love does not disappear. When circumstances become difficult, real love continues, wishing well for someone even when nobody notices. The truth is that I never wanted perfection. I never expected a fairy tale. I never expected life to become easy. All I wanted was honesty, connection, trust, the opportunity to stand beside the person who had become so important to me. The truth is that there were moments when I almost spoke, moments when courage felt close enough to touch, moments when honesty stood waiting at the edge of my lips, yet fear always arrived first. Fear whispered louder. Fear convinced me to wait. Fear convinced me that tomorrow would be better. But tomorrow became another tomorrow, and another, and another, until silence became habit. The truth is that silence protects nothing. It only postpones reality, and reality always arrives eventually. The truth I hid from the woman I loved is simple. I loved you sincerely. I loved you honestly. I loved you quietly. I loved you deeply. Not because you were perfect, not because life was easy, not because the future was guaranteed, but because my heart recognized something beautiful in yours. And once that happened, nothing was ever quite the same again. The truth is that some people enter our lives and leave footprints on the soul. You were one of those people, whether fate intended us to remain together or not, whether life allowed our paths to continue side by side or not. You changed me, and that truth deserves to be spoken tonight beneath the same stars that witnessed my silence. I finally release the words I carried for so long, the truth I hid from the woman I loved. You mattered more than I ever said. You inspired more prayers than you ever knew. You occupied more space in my heart than words could explain. And no matter where life leads, from here, that truth will always remain because some truths are too important to remain hidden forever. And yet, there is more than silence, more than memories, more than words I never spoke, because some truths do not end when they are finally told. They continue living inside the heart long after confession, long after courage, long after the moment has passed. The truth is that I still remember, not because I am trapped in the past, but because certain people become part of who we are. Certain smiles remain, certain voices remain, certain moments remain, even when years have gone by, even when seasons have changed, even when life has moved forward. I remember the way hope felt. I remember the way your presence could brighten ordinary days. I remember the way my heart felt lighter whenever your name appeared. Those memories became part of me, not as chains, not as burdens, but as reminders. Reminders that love once existed, reminders that beauty once appeared, reminders that sincerity still matters. The truth is that I never needed perfection. I never needed certainty. I never needed promises written in stone. What I wanted was simple, a chance to be honest, a chance to be understood, a chance to share the feelings I carried quietly for so long, and perhaps that chance arrived tonight. Perhaps this is the moment when silence finally becomes words, when hidden feelings finally become truth, when the weight inside the heart finally becomes lighter, because truth has a strange power. It does not change the past, but it changes the person carrying it. And after all this time, I no longer want to carry these feelings alone. I want the stars to know. I want the moon to know. I want the night to know that once, with all the sincerity inside my soul, I loved, and that love was real, and that love was real, not a fantasy, not an illusion, not a passing feeling. It was the kind of love that arrives quietly and stays longer than expected, the kind of love that changes the way you see the world, the kind of love that teaches you patience, teaches you hope, teaches you courage, even when courage arrives late. There were countless moments when I wanted to speak, countless moments when the truth stood at the edge of my lips, but fear remained stronger than words. Fear remained louder than honesty. Fear remained closer than courage. So I waited and waited and waited, believing that tomorrow would somehow become easier, believing that someday the perfect moment would arrive, believing that certainty would finally appear. But life rarely offers perfect moments. Life moves forward without permission, without warning, without guarantees, and suddenly years become memories, conversations become echoes, dreams become chapters, and opportunities become questions, questions that follow us through quiet nights, questions that return during lonely evenings, questions that ask what might have happened if courage had arrived sooner. The truth is that I may never know. I may never know what words could have changed. I may never know what future might have existed. I may never know how different the story could have been, but I know this: the feelings were real, the prayers were real, the hopes were real, the love was real, and sometimes that truth alone is enough, enough to honor the memory, enough to honor the journey, enough to honor the person who inspired it all. Because not every love story is measured by endings. Some are measured by sincerity. Some are measured by growth. Some are measured by the way they transform a heart forever. And you transformed mine quietly, completely, unforgettably,